everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm Victoria and I talk all things Toronto Maple Leafs from Scotland. Before I start today's video, make sure to subscribe to my channel and also like this video. I talk all things Toronto sports. I do vlogs, game analysis and video essays, mainly talking about hockey and Toronto sports. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, please make sure to subscribe and enjoy my little corner of the internet. Today's video is another weekly analysis Leafs video. I usually do these once a week and I break down all the previous games from the past week and I share my thoughts on them. This week I'm actually uploading for weeks 5 and 6 of the NHL season. Last week was just super crazy. Among other things, I was actually gifted by my mum and my boyfriend a trip to Toronto for the end of this month as like an early Christmas gift. So I had all of that to plan and organise, and so it was a very busy week, and this week is just as busy. I actually leave for Toronto at like the end of this week, so yeah, there's more Toronto content coming, which I know you all love and I love making. But anyway, I thought I would just put together, the Leafs haven't had the busiest of schedules recently and they don't for the next couple of weeks either, so I thought for some of the weeks I might just combine them, to be honest, if I don't have time to do them every single week. Trust me, if this was actually my job, I would have like 3 or 4 videos up every single week, but unfortunately this is not my job, it's just a hobby. So I really do apologise for missing an upload last week and combining the 2 weeks into this week. However, I do have another good couple of videos coming up over the next like week or so hopefully that makes up for it. Anyway, I'm making this intro super long and I need to stop rambling because we have 6 games to talk about. Week 5 for the Toronto Maple Leafs of the NHL season was very successful. They actually had 3 out of 3 wins, which was really impressive. It was a week-long homestand and there were various highlights, not forgetting a Stollart's bare hand save, lots of special team success, and also evidence that the team can manage without Austin Matthews, which I know a lot of people were kind of saying about, oh, you know, they don't look much different without Austin, but I really felt like the week after, in week 6, you really noticed his absence. So in week 5 alone, the team definitely had a lot of success even without Matthews there, but I do find that the longer time goes on, you can definitely see those areas where it would have been really useful to have him there. So the first week of game 5 was on Tuesday 5th of November and it was the Leafs versus Bruins at home, and what better way to kick off week 5 than a shutout against a division rival, especially the Boston Bruins. The Leafs won 4-0. Stollart had a hell of a game. He saved 29 out of 29 shots on goal. We had 3 power play goals from Riley, Nylander and Nyes, topped off with an empty netter from Steven Lorentz. It was a nice change from the team that we saw who lost against Boston in the first round last year. They really looked a lot different. I feel like one of the main reasons they lost in that first round was because of their lack of special team success, whereas this game was a complete turnaround in that area. I also saw an interesting post by Jonas Siegel which showed the Leafs' last 8 regular season games versus Boston, and as you can see in the post that which I've popped up on the screen, there is just loss after loss after loss when it comes to regular season games against Boston, so it was really refreshing to see the Leafs being able to win in this way. In week 4, the Leafs power play hit absolute rock bottom. At one point it was the worst in the entire NHL, but in week 5 it really started clicking, and so that was wonderful to see because that has been their problem area so far this season. Game 2 of week 5 was on Friday 8th of November and it was Leafs once again at home versus the Detroit Red Wings. The Leafs were able to win this one 3-1. They'd had a few days break in between games and so we knew we were getting to see a well-rested team, especially given that they didn't have any travel days this week, and it definitely showed. This game was quite defensive, it was quite non-complicated. I feel like they were playing quite simple hockey, but it was really effective. The power play remained absolutely on fire with 2 power play goals from both Marner and Tavares in this game, and also an empty netter from JT as well. I talk about John Tavares a lot in these videos. I feel like I have been a John Tavares defender all through the time where all I saw was a lot of fans talking about how much cap space he's taking up and how he doesn't have any value to the team anymore. Aside from the fact that he's perhaps slowed down pace in terms of skating, I don't think he's lost a lot of value that he brings to the team. No, he's not worth the money he's on, but that contract runs out at the end of this year, and I really feel like he's still a valuable component of this team. I want to see John Tavares staying a Leaf until he retires, hopefully just on, you know, a lot less money, free up some cap space, you know? Only Dylan Larkin was able to get on the score sheet for Detroit in this game with a second period goal. And the Leafs penalty kill also remained strong, as even though that Larkin goal was on the power play for Detroit, Detroit only went 1 for 3 on the power play in this game, meaning that the Leafs special teams were still really effective, especially since the Leafs actually went 2 for 2 on the power play in this same game. It was the second game in a row that the Leafs had not allowed a 5-on-5 goal, and Stollarz once again was fantastic, only allowing 1 goal past him out of 22. This game was also the bare hand save game, you know, where he just casually just picked up the puck and just... so cool, so badass. Third game of week 5. I'm going to try and like go through these as quickly as I can because I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. But it was Saturday 9th of November and it was Leafs versus Habs at home. Really, really good. Love to see it. I love Leafs and Canadiens matchups. I don't think it can be beaten when you see original 6 teams playing each other. Same goes for Boston, of course. They won this game 4-1. It was the third and final game of the week. It was the third Atlantic Division rivalry of the week for the Leafs, and it was also their third and final win of the week. It started off solid for the Leafs with a goal from Timmins and just some really good hockey in the first opening 20. The second period was elevated by special teams once again, with Nylander getting a power play goal to make it 2-0 for the Leafs, and then finally Marner getting a short-handed goal to make it a 3-goal game. The Leafs had gone from not being able to score with the man advantage to now being able to score with a man down. That is some transformation in just the space of a week. Despite a power play goal from Gallagher, the Leafs' victory was never really in doubt, and a final power play goal from John Tavares sealed this game, giving them a 4-1 win over their age-old rivals. Even though there were no goals in the final period of this game, Joseph Woll also had a really standout performance. He just really made the saves he had to, and he just looked really solid. I always think the team looks so much more confident and capable when they really trust their goaltender. The Leafs' goaltending this season is so far their strongest area in my opinion, and it's very exciting to see given that there's been so many problems with it in the past. Now on to week 6, which is the week that we should have been talking about in this video alone. Kicking off with Tuesday the 12th game, Leafs at home versus the Ottawa Senators. So actually it was 4 division rivals in a row, I guess, now that I'm thinking about it. However, this performance was not the same as what we had seen in week 5, and the Leafs lose 3-0 in a very lacklustre hockey game. No way to stop the momentum, quite like getting shut out at home for the first time since November 20th, 2021. I feel like the Austin Matthews absence was absolutely notable in this game. This wasn't one of those games where the Leafs were dominant but they just couldn't score, they got goalied, or they just got unlucky. They were outshot 41-27, they went 0 for 4 on the power play, and they really struggled to get any momentum going against the Senators. It wasn't for lack of trying on Craig Berube's part either. He changed the first line 3 times over during this game. It started off with Nyes, Domi and Marner, then he moved Tavares up to this line, and then he also switched out Nylander too, trying to find success, but just nothing was really working. And of course it wasn't just down to the first line. Overall, the team just looked like they were just missing something in this game, and I think that missing something was perhaps Matthews. Game 2 of the week, and this was a back-to-back. They were playing Tuesday, Wednesday this week, so Wednesday 13th of November. Leafs were away to the Washington Capitals. Always tough to have a back-to-back and you're travelling for the second game, but they did win this one in overtime 4-3. I felt like every single part of this game was reviewed, like every goal, every whatever was just being reviewed, and this game started at 7:30, which is obviously in my time midnight, and I was just that on like a back-to-back. See, when you've like losing one night's sleep is like doable when you've got a night to catch up. See, when it's 2 in a row, oh, it's so tough. Anyway, lots of reviews in this game. The Leafs weren't really the better team in this game, if I'm honest, and I think they were actually lucky to be able to push it to OT and be able to take the win. A star this week was definitely Bobby McMahon, and he was the one who tied up the game in the first period, keeping the Leafs in it. However, a late first period goal left the Leafs trailing 2-1 going into the second. A protest goal in the middle frame also left the Leafs trailing by 2, but Nylander and Marner, both on the power play, managed to give Toronto a comeback. It's really great to see both power play goals happening, but also the core really pulling their weight, because there was a while there where it felt like the bottom six were kind of doing more than the core four were, and they're the ones paid the big bucks to actually do these things. So it was great to see. And of course, when we got into OT, a John Tavares overtime winner. I'm a big John Tavares fan, can you tell? And finally, we had the Leafs at home versus Edmonton, Saturday 16th of November. Leafs win again in overtime 4-3. This was by far my favourite game of the week. It was the most entertaining. It was so fast paced. I mean, you're already setting it up well having two Canadian teams, Hockey Night in Canada, playing each other on Saturday night, but the pace of this game was just fantastic. This was by far the most enjoyable game for me of the week. Actually, out of weeks 5 and 6, this was the most enjoyable game for me. The first period ended 1-1 after Edmonton got the opening goal. However, a backhanded shot from Bobby McMahon once again was hit home, keeping it even going into the second. And despite a second period power play goal from McDavid, the Leafs gained a lead in the third thanks to an unassisted Matthew Nyes goal and a second goal of the night from, once again, Bobby McMahon. A late period goal from Draisaitl pushed it to OT, but Mitch Marner answered, both scoring the OT winner and simultaneously his 200th career goal at the same time, which is just iconic. Of course, in this game, one of the main, I guess, talking points was the Ryan Reaves hit. He has obviously been suspended for 5 games after an illegal check to the head on Darnell Nurse. Reaves was ejected during the second period and Nurse was kept out for the rest of the game following from this hit. Reaves, of course, has had 3 previous suspensions in his NHL career, including 2 which were the result of illegal hits, so I'm really not surprised by the 5-game suspension, and I don't think it's wrong per se. I do, however, think that Nurse needs to keep his head up more. I think his head was really down, and you shouldn't have your head down like that, kind of, especially in that area. I just think you're leaving yourself really vulnerable. However, of course, I really hope he's okay, and it's always horrible to see any player getting injured, and I really hope he's okay, and I wish him the absolute best. Ryan Reaves, I don't think he went into it with bad intent, and I'm not saying this with Leafs tinted goggles. I genuinely just do think that's what happened. I think he went in to just make like a hit that was, I think if he just stayed lower it would have probably been okay, but unfortunately, you know, you can't go into the neck like that. You can't hit the head. His head looked like it was on a swivel. You can't do that, of course. So while I do think that obviously, you know, there needed to be some sort of discipline for that, this was definitely probably the main talking point of this whole week. So yeah, comment down below, what did you think of that hit? I don't think you can do that. I don't think it was a clean hit at all. I don't think the intent was there, and I think it was exacerbated by the fact that Nurse had his head down so much. But ultimately, you know, there had to be discipline for that, and given Reaves' past behaviour and past suspensions, I can totally see why it was a 5-game suspension, and I find it hard to disagree with that too. But most importantly, I just really hope Nurse is okay and he is back playing soon, because it's absolutely awful to see any player getting injured like that. So the stats for the Leafs at the end of week 6, just as we're about to head into week 7 tomorrow night. I'm filming this on a Tuesday and they don't play until Wednesday. The Leafs are currently 16th in the league on the power play percentage with 19%. They're second in the Atlantic Division and only 1 point behind Florida, who currently lead. They're 8th in the entire league overall, and currently Marner leads the team in points and assists right now, with Nylander scoring the most goals at 12. Overall, I am really happy with this Leafs team so far. I think they're progressing really nicely. I think maybe they're settling into the Craig Berube era. Maybe that transition period is finally over and this is more like the Leafs that we're going to see from now on. In terms of the Austin Matthews injury, I really hope he's back soon. It looks like they're just kind of using this sort of slower schedule time to let him recover from whatever it is, which of course I would much rather he was out in November rather than in May, but hopefully it isn't actually more serious than what we're being led to believe at the current minute, and hopefully he is of course back soon, because you can't deny that you miss Austin Matthews in a lot of games. So those are all my thoughts for week 5 and week 6 of the NHL season for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Leave a comment down below, what do you think of the Leaf season so far? Once again, I'm really sorry that I combined 2 weeks into one video, although the next 2 weeks might also be the same. Let me know, how do you feel about the 2 weeks in one video, or is it better just having it week at a time? It's just the Leafs only play like twice in the next week, so they've got a really quiet schedule again. So let me know what you think, and also let me know any Toronto content that you want, because I will be back. I'll be back soon. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and also like this video. I hope you have a great day. Go Leafs go, and I'll be back soon with more Toronto Maple Leafs chats from across the pond. Bye guys.